Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Onstage podcast. Today, we have a very special treat for you. Joining us is this incredibly talented singer and songwriter, Bernice Marsala. I think I got that right.
Mm.
She is a Nashville-based artist known for her captivating folk, pop, rock melodies and intricate lyricism. Originally from Sycamore, Illinois, she has made a name for herself with her unique blend of infectious melodies and powerful storytelling. Now, Bernice is not just a singer, she's a classically trained guitarist and a graduate of music business, magna cum laude. Wow, that's high class. And
Thanks.
her debut album, Save Me, released in 2020, showcased her ability to weave rich, textured vocals with hypnotic guitar parts. Since then, she has continued to evolve, exploring different styles and genres, and has been compared to artists like Michelle Branch and Imogen Heap. Wow, that's interesting. Now, her latest album, Burgundy, and we will link everything down below in the show notes. It's a testament to her versatility and growth as an artist. It features a collection of singles released from 2021 2023. Bernice's music has received international recognition with her beautiful single Lights Out, winning Best Pop Song in the World. Woo, woo, woo. Sing the Songwriting Awards. So we are thrilled to have her here today to share her journey, inspirations, and maybe even a few live performances. No, I'm just kidding. So without further ado, let's welcome Bernice Marsala to the show. How are you, Bernice?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're very welcome, and I'm very ecstatic to talk to you as well. I need to ask you, so what inspired you to pursue a career in music? Go back to the beginning and share with our audience.
I've kind of just always, music's always been around me, so it's just always something I wanted to pursue in some capacity. Um, for a while, I wanted to be a performer, and that was what I wanted to do. But I was always kind of writing songs, and then, the further I progressed in that, I was like, well, maybe I just want to be a songwriter, and maybe I just want to be on the business end of things. So I ended up pursuing the business end of things while still also writing, and then somehow I ended up being an artist. And that kind of came just because, I had been writing all these songs and recording as well. And then I decided, let's just put them out and see what happens. So.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I like that story. So can you tell us what your earliest musical influences, like who were you listening to and what made you tick to say, this is what I want to do. This is the genre I like.
Well, my parents, when I was growing up, were always listening to like the Carpenters and Jim Croce. Those were the two big ones that I remember kind of really being inspired by and really being into. Jim Croce, especially for the guitar and the songwriting, and then the Carpenters, like Karen Carpenter is singing that is kind of how I found my voice. So those are kind of like the earliest artists that I remember kind of being into. And I think especially my earlier writings probably reflect that a little more. And then later influences would be like my favorite band is Shinedown right now. So, and I've been listening to them since middle school, high school. So that's probably made its way as an influence into my music at some point as well.
Yeah. So how did your classical guitar training shape your approach to songwriting?
I think it helped a lot before I got into the recording end of things, because that was when it was literally just me and the guitar when I would be writing, and then I would want to go out and play live. So having the classical background allowed me to be a little more dynamic with the guitar. So I wasn't just strumming to accompany the songs. I could write like more interesting parts to accompany me live, because it was just me. I didn't have a band or anything. So I think that helped a lot, especially in the beginning before I was recording and adding other instruments.
Yeah, I'm looking at your two electric guitars behind you. I think, are they bass guitars or electric guitars?
They're electric guitars.
Okay, so what are the Gibson, Spatowski, Stratocaster?
This one's an Ibanez, and then this one's a Epiphone.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So do you actually play one of them, or like how are your ears to the sound? Would you know a Gibson from a Taylor or Stratocaster to a Spitowski? Would you know the sound?
I don't know that my ear's that good. I might be able to tell you a Stratocaster from a Telecaster. But like, I mean, these two are very similar because they're both, you know, hollow. But and I just kind of decide what I'm going to play based on the song I'm working on or the sound that I want. Like I'll decide if I want like a hollow body sound versus if I want like a solid body electric or if I want the acoustic sound. So, and those guitars are not hanging, but these two are up.
Yeah, I noticed. I was reading that your husband actually plays the drums. Now, are those the drums that he plays right there?
These are the ones that we've been recording on.
Okay.
He's got like a real nice Ludwig acoustic kit that he loves. Our house is a little small for it though. So since we moved into our house, we got the electric kit and that's what we've been recording on.
Yeah, because you can put the headset on and he would only hear the drums, but all you hear is like,
yeah.
yeah. And then the keyboard, is that a Korg, a Roland?
This is one of my newer instruments. It's I don't even know how to pronounce that. Aodsk.
Oh, okay.
AODSK. Yeah.
And if
that's one of my newer additions.
Yeah. And then that guitar in the middle, that's also electric as well, right?
That's a little Squire. I actually don't play that one. Right. We use that as the guest book for our wedding. That's why it has a little veil, if you can see it on the top. So yeah, wow. So it's got signatures.
So do you think that your upbringing in Sycamore, Illinois influenced your music? Because now that you're in Nashville, did you take that music influence with you, or is it different?
No, I think I took it with me. But I would say there's probably a little Nashville influence coming in now. Like I put, if you've heard This Is Me Walking Out, which is one of the singles I put out this year, it's got almost a little bit of a country vibe to it. It's still like pretty poppy and it's still, you know, kind of like my regular stuff, but it's got just like a little bit of a country vibe to it that I kind of did by accident. So that could be from just living here.
So what was the turning point that made you decide to move to Nashville? I mean, like, is it because a lot of famous country singers are from there, or because it's the top of the music world, top of the pops, hee-haw? I don't know why.
A lot of it had to do with the fact that it's, you know, kind of like the music capital. And we visited it a couple of times and we just really loved it immediately. And we knew we didn't want to live in Illinois forever. So this was a good place to aim for. So, and we just like being so close to the city and being close to like all these different music venues and seeing all these different bands and having places to go that have live music on a regular basis. Cause from, you know, small town in Illinois, that's not something that you see very often.
Yeah. I'd be interested in knowing about your new album, Burgundy. Now, how did you put that together? What's your song creation like? How do you put the lyrics, the melody? Do you get help? Are you outside and looking at the clouds or the sun and saying, oh, I know the song, I know what to write? What's your song creation process like?
It's kind of different for every song. For a lot of them, like, I mean, sometimes like I'll be like, I know I want to write about this subject, and then, you know, I'll kind of base it off of that. But I have had a few where the title came to me first or a single lyric came to me first, and then I'll expand on it. I've had a few times where the music came to me first, and then, you know, I just had this little recording on voice memos on my phone until I came up with lyrics that I felt like fit it. So it really varies every time.
So, and then each individual songs for the album Burgundy, is it meticulous? Did you know, okay, this belongs in there, this belongs here? How did that work for you?
Yeah, Burgundy is very much a story. So so things are kind of in story order as far as how the lyrics go. But they were, you know, they weren't all written at in the same period of time. So they were kind of that's why so many singles came out first before the album came out. So so yeah, they're written among different periods of time, but the way that they're placed on the album is story order.
Yeah, story. I'm really interested in knowing that song Little Fires. What's the story behind that one?
So that one is so the metaphor of the little fires is kind of supposed to be like, if you're in like a toxic relationship or a toxic friendship, and this person kind of makes you believe or feel certain things about yourself, once that's over, that kind of sticks with you. And so the little fires are those bad habits and those thoughts that you kind of have to unlearn now that you're out of that situation. So that that was one where the metaphor came to me first, and I wrote from there. So
Is that like when you have these little daughters or little kids, they're like, "Oh, you're a little fire, aren't you?" And so, you want me to play with fire? No, no. So the production of the music, how does it compare to your album Save Me?
um well, so most of the songs on Burgundy, except for one of them, were all self-produced, and then Save Me was all self-produced as well. And I think you can hear, now I'm no like production pro by any means, but I think you can hear an improvement from between Burgundy and Save Me for sure. And then the acoustic version of Left Behind on Burgundy, um, that was mostly my production, and then I had a friend mix and master that for me, Dustin Fairbanks, and he also added some extra drum parts as well in that. So that was really good. So that was kind of my first diving into somebody else doing a mix for me. And then the singles that I've done since then have all been produced, mixed, and mastered by my current producer, which is Charles Connolly.
Well, shout out to Charlie Connolly. You did good work.
Yes, he does.
Can you tell us about any challenges you faced while creating this album?
um, Probably just the time it takes to put it all together, because and I've talked about this before with people where the time between when a song actually gets written to when it gets recorded to when it gets produced to when it actually gets released, like you could be talking years.
Mm.
Sometimes you're talking months. It depends on, like, one, how excited I am about it, and two, like, how much time I really have to devote to that particular piece, or how much detail I'm going to put into it, whether or not I get stuck on something. This is me walking out as a good example of that. I think I worked on that recording for like 5 years before
Wow.
it was in a place where I was really satisfied with it.
Oh, wow.
And then, yeah, and then even then, like, once it got to Charles, like, there were a lot of things that he did to it too, but he worked a lot faster than me. So,
Wow, that is amazing, Bernice.
mhm.
Amazing. Wow. You want to be such a prolific songwriter. You have stories for the songs, how they were produced, how they were created. That's amazing. So what do you think is the most rewarding part of making Burgundy?
Um, Probably just finally getting it out there, and just seeing the response to, how much people liked it or people related to it, and kind of seeing, because I'm just so used to seeing all those songs as single elements, so it was kind of nice to finally see them as a whole package and listen to them from start to finish and see how they fit together.
Yeah, you were talking about previously about your songs and how long they take. Some take this long, others take this long. Reminded me, we have the Metalworks recording studio just up here, 20 minutes from here. And I can actually walk there. And Drake, Nelly Furtado, Prince actually recorded musicology there. And when you go in, there's like walls and walls of the, like, platinum albums, and the artist has signed them. And the actual person that actually owns this is Gil Moore from Triumph. And I went on 2 tours. And actually, when I went in the recording studio, the guy in there, when I asked him, how long does it take to record a song? Because you have the recording part of it, and outside you have the headset, and you have the person with the mic, and they're all alone in the middle of the room and they're singing, right? And he said it could take anywhere from 6 months to a year for one song, and an album could take longer than that. And Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen was actually, they got all the elements for that. How long? It was really interesting. It's not like you can write a song and have it up on Spotify tomorrow. There are
Mhm.
people actually who's still writing on their album. They're still kind of releasing their album, and it's taking them 10 years to do. So yeah, I bear your pain. uh, so how do you, with the song for, let's say, Little Fires, for instance, how do you balance your lyrical content with melody and harmony?
That's an interesting question because I don't know if that's something I've ever really paid attention to. Um, um, I mean, there will be moments where I can't think of an example of this off the top of my head, but there will be moments where if there's something in the lyrics that I can sort of like paint with the music, I have done that on occasion as far as like dynamic changes or things like that. Um, Outside of that though, I mean it's all very much just feel and I can't really put into words how that works in my head.
Yeah, I don't know. How would you know that Little Fires was completed or Lights Out? Like, what is it special about the last remaining lyric where you go, okay, that's it, it's done?
As far as the lyrics, um
Yeah.
well, I mean, I know if I'm coming to the end, like it's gotta be finite and it's gotta feel like it's over. So, again, there's not really a process for that. It's just I know it when it's there. Um, and you know, occasionally I'll go back and I'll fix something in the middle or I'll change something at the end where I'll be like, you know, I was good with this the day I wrote it, but now it doesn't quite fit, or it's maybe not the best line that I could put in. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's all just based on if I feel it's finished or if I feel this is the right thing.
You said there was some sort of lyrics, whatever that, there's some sort of writer's block. How do you overcome that?
Oh, that that happens on occasion. Um, well, what I try to do lately is I'll try to sit down and almost do like a writing prompt for myself where I'll just be like, okay, just give 20 minutes to this, pick a topic, pick a word, you know, and I'll just kind of try to come up with something based off of that. And some, you know, a lot of the time it's nothing that I would use, but sometimes I'll, you know, even if I don't have a fully fleshed idea, I might come up with like a line or two that is usable in something, or I'll find myself calling back to like an unfinished idea that I had that I liked, but I just never continued it, and then sometimes that's the time to continue it.
Well, now that you have the song release and the songwriting process is done and it's all ready to play, and so, okay, and you say to your husband, what do you think? And he likes it, but somebody else says, I don't like it. I don't like this song. So how do you incorporate feedback into that process?
Um, so I don't generally show my songs to a ton of people before it comes out. As far as taking feedback, I'll I'll take feedback and kind of filter it. So because sometimes I'll agree with something and
Mhm.
then I'll be like, oh, that's a good point. I should change that, or I should edit this, or I could do this instead. But you know, sometimes I don't agree with it. So, and you know, and at the end of the day, it's my song. People are welcome to give me feedback. I just may not do anything with it.
Uh, so when you create a song, your songwriting process, whatever, how do you experiment with different sounds and styles in your music? Maybe Little Fires is a jazz song. What made your song down a rock song? Maybe it's good as a classical song or a
Mhm.
folk song. How do you decide the genres?
Um, that's another good question. I kind of it kind of just comes to me as I'm writing it, where I'll be in the writing stages where, you know, I'm not actually recording yet. I'm just like playing the guitar, I'm playing the piano, and I'm just like writing lyrics. And I'll kind of have sounds in my head like, "Ooh, I need to incorporate this instrument. I need to include this instrument on the recording," and I'll make those notes as I'm writing. Um, so most of them come formed in my mind as this is the style we're gonna do. Um, but then sometimes, like, this is I'm gonna keep mentioning This Is Me Walking Out because that one was kind of a bear, as far as songs to do. But that one is another good example of this where I actually couldn't decide when I wrote it if I wanted it to be up tempo or if I wanted it to be a ballad.
Mm.
And I actually started 2 different projects at once when I got to the recording stage in both styles. And what I ended up getting more excited about and ultimately landing on is the one that came out, which is the up-tempo. But I continued to do the ballad because I decided, well, this also works. So that's going to come out as a separate release at some point. Because it worked really well with the song, especially because lyrically that situation can have 2 different feelings associated with it, and so it's kinda like 2 sides of the same coin. So, so that's an example where I kinda didn't know where I wanted to take it once the song was written, and I kinda just had to mess around with it and decide what I liked.
You know, with everything that's happening with your family and your marriage and things happening in real life and your music, how do you how do you deal with your mental health? How do you stay inspired and motivated to write new stuff? Like mental health is very important. Are the things that you do?
Um, well, I mean, music has always been my way of getting good mental health. So in working on music, like I am kind of catering to that at the same time. So kind of as long as I have some time to devote to that, each week or even every other week, that really helps me coping with stress and things like that. As far as like motivation to get things done, um, it kind of depends on how excited I am about a song or a project, but I've always got 3 or 4 different songs in different stages working at the same time. So I've always got something to work on.
Do you find that working by yourself with other musicians influence your creative process?
Um, I don't think it influences my process so much, but it does open me up to more feedback, I guess. I mean, like just in working with my producer lately and like getting feedback from him, and it's been nice to like have another because I'm not used to working with other musicians outside of my husband. So and with my husband, sometimes I'll want him to completely take the reins and I'll say, "This is the song, go." And Burgundy he did in 2 takes and
Wow.
with no direction from me. But sometimes I have a beat in my head and I say like, "This is what I want you to do. I want it to sound like this here." And it's been a little different working with my producer because I just kind of send him everything that I have and he just kind of goes and then he sends me back like a completed thing. And it's been nice kind of getting feedback from a completely third party and someone who's obviously much better at mixing and mastering and production than I am. So it's nice to get kind of like mentorship feedback, if you will.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell us
Yeah.
what your experience working with your husband, like, who's also your drummer. How do you work with him? How do you make sure that there's no like throwing the drum set away? I don't like your. How do you work together so that doesn't happen?
Well, and like I said, he knows at the end of the day it's my song. So I mean, he gives me feedback on stuff too, and which I welcome, of course. And a lot of the times he'll make suggestions that I like, or he'll play something that I like, or but a lot of it is kind of messing around until we land on something that
Mhm.
is mutually interesting and cool for the song. Um, so we don't really because it's my song at the end of the day, we don't really have a lot of conflict because he knows I just have the final say. But he makes a lot of input that I really like. So
So you're like, so why is the stick here? Why stick there? What are you doing with that? Make you kind of learn the whole drumming process, or you not care about that?
I have learned a little bit about the drumming process, but not to the point where I could sit down and play it myself because I haven't I haven't really attempted to do that, and I don't have the coordination down as far as, like, having my foot going at the same time these hands are going, and so, um, you know, drums are difficult for someone who's a guitar
I
player.
I know, and when I've seen some really professional drummers, I'm like, "I could never do that." Like,
Yeah.
everyone's so talented out there.
Mhm.
So you played live. How do you prepare for a live performance of your songs? What do you do? What's your pre-rituals?
Um, well, at the time I was doing that, I don't remember if I really had any rituals at the time. Um I don't think I had any.
So what was the pandemic for you, like for you and your family? How did you manage to keep on track of your music and write? Did you do a lot of online concerts, stuff like that?
No, well, actually, the pandemic was right. That was the year that I started releasing stuff for streaming and everything. So I was just doing like a lot of writing and recording and getting a lot of that stuff done, and we were preparing to move to Tennessee at the time too. So we were pretty busy.
That's amazing. So if someone came up to you and said, Bernice, I need to, I want to do what you do. So what kind of advice would you give to aspiring songwriters and musicians?
Um, Probably because I feel like as artists, a lot of us are kind of like either perfectionists or borderline perfectionists. And the thing that held me back quite a bit before I started releasing things was I felt like my songs or my recordings just like I'm like, I don't know if this is really good enough yet. Like I can keep working on things. And there was a day that I kind of just said to myself, you know, you can tweak this for the rest of your life and still find things to nitpick. So at some point you have to just decide that it's done and kind of just go for it. And so that was kind of the turning point for me to be like, okay, I think they're as finished as they're going to be, and I'm just going to put them out and we're going to see what happens. And so so kind of having to learn that about myself and learn that I need to let go a little bit of that perfectionism and not be so concerned about a little mistake here and there. And um, so that was kind of what got me releasing things in the first place.
So how do you see your music and songwriting evolving in the future, Bernice?
I mean, I just kind of hope I can keep, improving and I like kind of jumping genres and trying different things. So I'd like to continue to do that and just see what all I can come up with. I'm not really set on trying to have a specific sound. I kind of want to just do whatever feels right song to song.
Where do you want to find yourself like in 5 years? What kind of music, goals, albums? Like, do you have a repertoire of songs just waiting to be released?
Well, I have songs ready for single releases. I do want to collect them all into an album again. I'm hoping for maybe within the next 2 to 3 years to collect those all into an album. Um, but yeah, I'd kind of just like to keep growing and growing listeners and things like
What do
that.
you, would there be any new genres or styles you like to explore in the future?
Nothing specific. It just kind of depends on the song, and if I write a song and I say this would be really good in this genre, then that's what I'm going to do.
So nobody can take something like Little Fires and turning it into a symphony. Like I asked that because I know when Jimmy Page's 75th birthday, they a symphony got together, like a choir, and they sang a beautiful symphony of Stairway to Heaven was beautiful. And then you have the camera focusing on Jimmy Page's face and his tears running down his eyes. Is it possible you could take Little Fires and turn it into some sort of symphony?
I mean, I would love that. I think that would be really cool. Nobody's approached me for anything like that, but if anybody wanted to do that, I'd be down for it.
But just because a song is a rock song doesn't mean it can't be a jazz song. I mean,
Absolutely.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. How about different languages? You ever uh, kind of thought of that as well?
No, I haven't. I'm only fluent in English. So,
That's okay.
yeah.
So yeah. So what kind of legacy do you want to hope to leave with your music? Like, what do you want people to remember you by? Bernice Marsala. Wow, yeah, I remember her. She what you-
Well, I mean, I want people to remember the songs and that they related to it or it resonated with them and they like the storytelling or the melodies in it. It's like that's kind of what I'm just like the mouthpiece for the artwork itself. So I want people to remember that.
I like to ask you what your thoughts are on the music industry and AI. How do you feel that AI is changing the music industry? Because you can, if you wanted to, you could do a duet with David Bowie if you want.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the AI being able to duplicate other artists' voices. Um, I think if that's obviously that's the direction we're headed in. And I think if we're going to do that, there needs to be some sort of like stricter copyright licensing rules put in place for that. I feel like you should have to pay a royalty on that, just like you do if you do a cover song. Um, I don't love I don't love AI getting into artwork in general. I think
Yeah.
it should be used for the necessary things that we don't like to do so that we have more time to do the artwork. So, you know, like helping you write press releases or something like that. Like that would be a good use for AI in my opinion.
Yeah, we had a friend, my brother and I, we had a friend, we knew him since the 70s, and what he did is his name's Michael Wycraft, and he literally created and designed many of the rock stars and musicians' vinyl albums. Like, you know, he did Bruce Coburn, he did Rush, he did all the albums back in the 70s and 80s, well, mostly 80s and 90s. And now that you have the advent of AI, all you have to do is say, I want an album that has, and then boom, the photo for your album comes out, your CD, whatever. I mean, I can see what you're doing, but many of these designers could be, you know, lose their jobs, or they could use AI and say, here's the one I did. But you didn't do it,
Yeah.
AI did, you know?
Mhm.
So you don't know if it's real or not. For all I know,
Yeah.
you may not even be Bernice. It could be an AI. She's having lunch in the kitchen. No. But it's getting to the point where you have deep fake, you have the deep fake Tom
Mhm.
Cruise. It could be it's sort of like that controversy when Natalie Cole, she did like a duet with her father, Nat King Cole, Unforgettable, and all the controversy that they went through saying like you're and so that's what it's going to be like with the AI. So somebody's going to come out with Johnny Cash singing one of your songs or something. You know what I mean? Unless they give you the
Yeah.
money, I don't know, but I wouldn't. Yeah, but the state of the music industry is ridiculous. You know.
Mhm.
So, how do you choose artists or producers to collaborate with? How did you choose your collaborator, your producer? How did you choose him?
Well, I met him through an organization called the New Artist Spotlight, which is like it's like an artist organization for just like meeting other artists and supporting each other. And so it's a really great organization. And I met him through that because he's an artist as well. And so I'd heard his songs on the playlist for this organization, and I just thought he was really good. And when I found out that he did productions for other people, I was like, sign me up. so so I reached out to him, and you know that's we linked up on Lights Out was the first one we did together. So and we get along well, so it's just worked out ever since.
So, what do you think is your favorite song? Irrelevant, This Is Me Walking Out, Lights Out, Left Behind, Little Fires. Which one would you think has a personal meaning to you that you just love?
I mean, as a song, my favorite has always been Burgundy, the song itself. Um, just because I really liked the lyrics in that one. I love the music and I love everything about that one. And that one just came together so quickly for me that it was just kind of like the perfect song in my head. You know what I mean? So I really love that one as a song. Um, favorite as far as production might be Lights Out. I still listen to that one a lot, and there was just something about it where like that was a real like turning the corner as far as genre for me. So so that was kind of an interesting a different sound for me to do that that people really responded to, and I was kind of surprised about it because that was kind of just meant to be like a fun little Halloween song, and it ended up being like one of my biggest ones at the time up to that point. So
You mentioned Burgundy. Well, this is Burgundy right here. So, hey. Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of like Little Fires. That's a good song.
Thank you.
I like the video. And I don't want to know what the story is behind This Is Me Walking Out. So I just, so how do you, like, for instance, how do you stay true to your artistic vision while also appealing to a broader audience?
I mean, I kind of just continue to to write things the way I want and, do the way I want. And I try not to focus too much on what I think the people listening want. I might, think about that here and there as far as like, oh, this song did really well. Let's figure out why and see if we can, emulate that again. But for the most part, I kind of just, write when I want to and just hope that people like it.
Yeah, I actually love your music. And as I mentioned, everyone, all our music will be linked down below. When I was talking to you, the introduction, I mentioned that you're known for your captivating folk, pop rock melodies and intricate lyricism. Can you kind of expand on that a bit?
Yeah, well, I think as far as like lyrics, like we've talked about, I think I'm pretty good at storytelling. I think that's one of my strong suits. Um, I think I'm pretty good at, putting lines together as far as like following a certain rhyme scheme or like maybe rhyming words that songwriters typically don't use. And then with melodically, I think I do come up with some interesting melodies that maybe don't always go where you might expect it to go. So
Yeah, did really being a graduate of music business, magna cum laude, did that actually help you with your music career?
well, it helped me with my professional career. I work in copyright and licensing. So I did that degree because it was kind of like there were so many different avenues that you could go down as far as a career for when you had that degree. And at the time I got it, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do in music. I just knew I wanted to do something. And I'm like, well, you can't go wrong with a business degree. So I was kind of just being realistic and not trying to put all my eggs in this artist basket because, how many people are really lucky enough to be able to do that for a living. So, and I've been fortunate that I can do both. I certainly don't make, a living off the music end of it, but I'm having a lot of fun and I get to kind of live my dream at the end of the day. So, and then working in the music industry on the business end of things, I still get to be part of the industry and still feel like I have a career in music, even though it's not like the sexy end of things.
So
So to speak.
copyright and licensing, is that for music?
Yeah.
So that'll help you. That'll go a long way if you have that. If you
Yeah,
have
for
that in
sure.
your, yeah. Well, congratulations for um, receiving international recognition for Lights Out
Thank
and
you.
winning the Best Pop Song and World Songwriting Awards. So, and I guess you're still going to be working with Hayden, I think,
Mhm.
because he's really good. He's really
Yeah.
going like he's a good promoter. He's really
Mhm.
good. Everyone, we hope you enjoyed our conversation with incredibly talented Bernice Marsala. Her journey as a singer and songwriter is truly inspiring, and her music continues to touch hearts around the world. If you haven't already, make sure to check out her latest album, Burgundy, and follow her on social media to stay updated on her upcoming projects and performance. Where on social media? Where can people find your music and all about you? Where to follow you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram. My handle's at Bernice Marsala, and I'm on Facebook at Bernice Marsala Music. My website's bernicemarsala.com. You can sign up for my email list there and stay updated that way. And I'm on all the streaming platforms, so you can find all my music there.
Yep, and we'll link everything down below. Big thank you, Bernice, for sharing your time stories with us. And thank you, everyone, for your continued support. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and share it with your friends. Thank you so much. Until next time, keep listening, keep creating, keep the music alive. Thank you so much, Bernice. Really appreciate this time
Thank you.
and wish you total success and look forward to following you and having new music. Can you wait
Thank you.
right there for 1 second? Okay, everyone, we're going to leave. We're going to end this stream. Bye, everyone. How could